Hello everyone, welcome to another Famiclone teardown video. This time we've got a newer version. This is a Merry Christmas edition. I know it's January, but I've only just got this one. Been waiting for it in the post for a few days now. And this is different from the most of the common ones of today, because this one is a HDMI version. It'll be quite interesting to see how that works. I've not taken it out of the box yet. This has literally just come today. Apparently it's by a company called Asadal. I'll read from the box here. Probably can't see it. But it says, started its business in Seoul, Korea. I'm not sure if that's supposed to say South Korea, or if there's a place called Seoul. It started its business in Korea in February 1998 with the fundamental goal of providing better internet services to the world. Asadal stands for the Morning Land in ancient Korean. Asadal has about 35 staffs, including well-experienced web designers, programmers and server engineers. So I'm not sure what they're doing making Famiclones. But Classic Games Collection contains Mario, Contra, Ricky Coo Neo, I'm not really sure what that is, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, games list, you don't have to game card, download. So yeah, this doesn't have a card slot in. Let's open it up and see what's inside the box. There are, oh yeah, let's take a look at the back of the box, which just contains the games list. There are 600 games on this. Oh, I've got it upside down. 600 games on this. And you've got them written in Chinese and in English here. Now there are a lot of duplicates. Now, this is pretty much an updated version. This is pretty much an updated version of the standard 500 game ones that have been hitting the market lately. And they are just AV output. Now, these are the updated ones, which include an extra 100 games, and they also include the HDMI out, which I'm really interested to see how that works. I'm really interested to get this opened up, because I want to see what sort of board is inside, and hopefully, because there's no cartridge slot in these, hopefully we might be able to get one added in. Yeah, this is the console itself. Quite nice, really. It's a bit, oh, the plastic's quite thin. If I squeeze that hard enough, it'll just snap. I don't even think I'd have to squeeze it that hard. But to look at, it looks quite nice. Just resemble the Nes very well. It's the Cool Baby, which this could very well have something to do with Subo then, even though it says it's made in Korea. But Cool Baby, I believe, had a lot of workings with Subo. I'll have to do some research into that. So that's the console. Also, we get two pads, which otherwise look quite a decent length there. 4 button pads, which feel quite nice. They do feel really nice. I'll get those tested shortly. We also get a HDMI cable. We get a European to British plug adapter, and then we get the power adapter there. And we also get our instructions, which are open back to front. Okay, so it's in, oh, not the camera, it's in Chinese on one side and English the other side. User manual. I love these translations. Yeah, that's pretty much our setup guide. So I'm going to get it tested out so we can see how the pads perform, and then I'll get down to the teardown section which will then be reversed, so you'll actually see the teardown now. Right then, taking apart the console was relatively easy, just 4 screws on the bottom. And then if we lift it off, we can see it's an all-in-one unit, which I was quite surprised. I thought they would actually have it set up like some of the old 3 boards where the controller, the Famiclone section, and then the video section will be all in their own separate parts. But now they put it all in one. And I'm quite surprised to see that they'd actually, under there is the Famiclone EEPROM. I'm surprised to see they haven't actually used a real flash chip or something to store it on, and they've still gone for the plastering blob. But yeah, we see some similarities between the Nes Mini, which if you've seen the inside of one of them, I'll put a picture up now in the other side so you can compare, but they look very similar. And they also actually use some of the same components, not the exact same models, but we have, see this here is that is the flash memory chip, which in this one is a 1 gig expansion memory chip, flash memory, and that is also the same as in the Nes Mini, a different model chip, but it's still by expansion and a 1 gig. Now, as this has already got 600 games on, that's probably going to have used up most of that, but there's no pictures or anything on the menu here for the game covers, so maybe there might be more room if we could hack into this to add some more. But yeah, we have up here, we have the HDMI chip, which I couldn't actually find anything out on the actual chip itself. Couldn't seem to find any data sheets on it or anything, but it is a HDMI 2.0 chip, which surprisingly enough is capable of running up to like 3800 resolution, which is way more than needed here. I was thinking they would have maybe a 720p chip in, but this must output a 1080p then, and it's capable of doing far better, which is shocking really. And then up here we've just got your HDMI socket and your power socket running around the board there. Now, surprisingly, there's a lot of pins here running off the flash. The flash memory has been put on a board, and then the board has been linked into the main board. Now, I have seen this sort of technology before, this sort of workaround, but I was hoping that that would be the direct pin out of a Famiclone or Famicom pin connector, and we would be able to just wire one up and you'll be able to play your Famicom cartridges on it as well. But it's not that easy. There are only 51 pins running off that chip, so, but they are labelled, which means we might be able to tap into them and discover where they're going. Which doesn't make it easy because of this black blob, so we can't exactly see. We're going to have to do a lot of testing, but hopefully we might be able to get a cartridge slot added onto this. That would just make it amazing. So yeah, the other side of the board is just traces, nothing really much to say. Just routing where everything's going. Yeah, all in all, the build of the inside of this is quite nice. And hats off to whoever did it. It looks like this was made in 2017 on the 27th of October. So yeah, and this would be the Nes 01 VT33 version 1.2. So they most likely will release one with a cartridge slot in it in the future. But hopefully, hopefully we can get one added in before that as a nice little project. Right, we'll get it back on, and then I'll get the footage up of the menus. We'll go through the games, talk a little bit more about the performance of it and how it handles and the controllers and everything like that. My verdict on whether it's worth buying. So yeah. So when you turn on the console, you first get presented with the language selection menu. Gives you the choice between Chinese and English, and then you move on to another menu which breaks everything down into 6 sections. And what we'll do is we'll quickly go through these menus, and then the last one, as you'll see, is the 545 in one. So when we get to that section, we'll talk about the performance of the console and things like that, and we'll just run through the menu page by page. So on the first section here, we've got the Mario section, which contains your standard Mario 1, 2 and 3, then you've got Dr. Mario, Yoshi's Cookie, Mario's Time Machine, just basically games that involve Mario. But then we have a bunch of ROM hacks, including Balloon Mario and Bomber Mario, and they're basically sprite swaps or change the physics in the game. And we have some interesting ROM hacks like Luigi's Ghost Story, which you can see on the left, and then on the right there's Angry Mario and Neo, which is a near impossible game to play, not for the faint-hearted. But if you like your challenging games, then definitely worth checking out that one. And then one interesting game on this Mario section is a ROM hack of Yoshi's Cookie called Hash Cookie, where everything's changed into depicting Mario as a pot-smoking stoner. Then if we move on, we go to the Turtles section next, which is just a 4-in-1. It's got Turtles 1, 2, Turtles 3 Manhattan Project, and then Turtles Tournament Fighter, which I'm quite happy Manhattan Project's on here because I haven't had a good chance to play this. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. The Hot Blood section is basically, if you're not familiar with Hot Blood games, and you usually find one or two of them on multi-carts. They're basically ROM hacks, but they seem to be quite a popular series in Japan, so I'm not really sure the history on those. But it's enough to warrant a full section of Hot Blood games on this cart, or built into the device, should I say. The Contra section is an 11-in-1. It's got Contra and some hacks of Contra, and then games that are like similar to the Contra series, like Blue Shadow, and as you'll see on the screen now, a game called Shatterhand, which I wasn't familiar with, never seen this before, but I gave it a few minutes playthrough and it seemed a really interesting game, so I'll definitely be doing some gameplay of this one in the near future. Moving on to the adventure section, we just get your basic Adventure Island 1, 2, 3 and 4. I haven't actually checked these out, but I think they're all just hacks of the first game. Then when we finally move on to the 545-in-1, we'll shrink the screen up and we'll put some gameplay up, and we'll go through the menu, and if there's any games on the menu that you find interesting or you'd like to see gameplay of, leave a comment in the section down below and I'll get some gameplay done of those for you. But now we'll basically just talk a bit about the console and how it performs, and my verdict on whether I think it's worth buying. Okay, so first off I want to say that the console itself I'm quite happy with. The controllers are quite responsive. They feel just like a NES controller. Maybe sometimes they might slightly be a little over responsive, but it doesn't really cause that much of a problem. You'll see on the screen now it looks like there's some terrible gameplay of Sonic being done, but that's actually the game itself wasn't very responsive and it wasn't really due to the controller. But in the other games I tested, didn't really have a problem. Playing Mario and some of the games, usually if your controller's unresponsive, with some of the ROM hacks it's just impossible to play them, but with these pads it was alright, it was quite fine. It's probably the next best thing you're going to get to an official NES pad. So I've got no problems with those really. I probably will, as they're the standard 9-pin sockets, I probably will end up using these pads for all the other Famiclones I use, because they're just that good. The console itself, as I say, the build quality is quite nice. The plastic on the actual console is a bit flimsy, but it's not really a problem. You're not really going to be bashing it or anything, so it's not as if you're going to break it easily. As you'll see going through the games list, there are a lot of duplicate games. There are a lot of Mario clones on here, and there are also a lot of sprite swaps for Hyperload Runner, which you'll see quite a lot of as well. But there are a heck of a lot of really good games on here as well, but you just have to sift through them, which is a bit of a shame. The menu system isn't the best. and it would have been nicer if they were all in perfect alphabetical order. Another problem I mentioned was also the fact that it's got no cartridge slot, which isn't really a problem because you've got 600 games, so there's enough to keep you entertained, but it would have been nice if you had the opportunity to play your own Famicom or Nes games on your big screen telly in HDMI. The only other HDMI option out there is a board you can buy. I'm not sure who it's by, so I'll get the details up on the screen. But yeah, I think it's about £60 to have it converted. Yeah, your proper hardware NES to a HDMI, which is a great option. But this Famiclone was like £26 delivered. So it's a great alternative, but sadly no cartridge slot. One weird thing to note about the console is that when you don't have it plugged in but the HDMI leads in, there seems to be some power still going through into the power bulb. Now I did try and get it powered directly from HDMI and I couldn't get it working, so I'm not sure if it's just a surge of power that's going through and enough to power up the LED, or whether it is intended to be powered through the HDMI as well. So I'll have to do some more testing on that. But if it doesn't, that makes it a lot more handy, because not only is it USB powered anyway, but if you could power it direct from the HDMI, then it'd be perfect for travelling, caravans and things like that. But as I say, I have to do a bit more testing on that. But all in all, I'm really impressed with the item. Not only because of the excellent picture quality, but because there are a ton of great games on here. And then, although I'm not usually a fan of emulation, I do love ROM hacks, and there are tons and tons of hacks on here that I've never come across before, so I'm quite eager to be playing a lot of these. It's just a shame that I have to try and remember what they're called, because as I said already, the menu system isn't the greatest. But yeah, putting that aside, it's a great little unit. And as I say, I've seen these selling for around £40 on eBay, but I got mine for £26, and I will put in the corner now a link to the user name of the person who I got it from. And then if he has any more, you can get yourselves one before the prices rise, I suppose. But yeah, all in all, one I'd definitely recommend if you're going to get a NOIC Famiclone without a cartridge slot, then this is definitely the one you want to be choosing. Usually you'll find them around £20 or under, but this is definitely worth spending the extra little bit of cash just to get that picture perfect quality. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it, so I'll just leave the rest of the menu running for the next couple of minutes, or the next minute, and then as I say, if you see any games on the list that you want to see footage of, just leave it in the description down below and I'll get some gameplay done for you. We had a bit more to look at in this video, so hopefully it was a bit more interesting than the other clone videos I've already done. And we'll have some different clones coming soon, a Mega Drive clone next I think. And if you haven't subscribed already, please hit the button. And don't forget to put the notifications on, because I do a lot of different types of videos, so not everything might suit you, so please make sure you put notifications on for whatever you like to see. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Take care.